welcome to another episode of In My Opinion. My name is John.
My name is Lester.
And yes, today I'm so sorry to our YouTube audience that are watching. I have a huge canker sore or ulcer, as we call it in Singapore, on my lip.
Yes,
and if I sound a little bit screwed up, it's because of that.
Yeah, he's not doing very well. So I'm gonna.
I mean, I'm doing well. I just have an ulcer.
He cannot say the word lisp. But other than that, he's fine. But yes, today we're gonna be doing a very interesting topic.
Yes.
But before that, let's just go into all the plugs we want to do. Follow us on
Correct.
Instagram at IMO.pod if you haven't done so already. We have a Telegram channel, and right now we're actually streaming on Twitch.
Yeah. So in the background, you all don't realize this, but our chat is actually booming.
It's
And by
booming.
booming, we get about one comment every 2 seconds.
Which is booming if you think about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, I like that. But you can follow us at Twitch at OverthinkSG.
Yeah.
Twitch.tv/OverthinkSG.
Correct.
Follow us there. We'll be streaming every time we film, which is typically Thursdays.
Mm.
So yes, join us and have a great time. Before and after, you can ask us any question.
Yes.
We'll interact with you guys.
Correct. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that's a little bit more current, a little bit more current.
Current, yes.
Because of the news that has been circulating around. But it's also a topic that is very
It's been
current.
but it has been kind of like a topic that people have been talking about for a while.
Correct.
But for some reason, it hasn't been put to bed or put to rest yet. I have no idea why. But we're going to be talking about masks and specifically whether mandating masks is, I guess, an infringement to
Yes.
freedom of choice or freedoms in general.
Correct. And this is the topic for today, right, was actually triggered by the news article of that British national
Yes.
who was initially found to not wear masks on the train and telling people not to wear so, and then how he turned up in court and he was still trying to defend his case that he don't want to wear, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's where we thought about this kind of question, because I feel that in Singapore we have been all subscribed to the narrative that we have to wear masks. Government tell you to wear masks, we follow, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if we really take ourselves away from this societal context and really broaden our perspectives a little bit, right? And try to put ourselves in the shoes of in his shoes,
Yeah.
we can roughly see his point about how it infringes on his personal freedoms.
Yes, and actually the reason why it got me intrigued in the first, because like every time, like for example, the badge lady refuses to wear the mask, in my head, or the sovereign lady also, remember the sovereign lady?
Yeah.
But like all in my head is just like, this guy just need to calm down and just goddamn follow the law.
Correct.
Like I've never thought much about it until recently that British national, right? And his friend actually posted like a Facebook post, like I guess rallying for support for him and said that like, Singapore is like an authoritarian society. I don't think it's his exact words. I'll link it down below. But basically trying to say that like we are being unreasonable to him and we are removing his freedoms, etc., etc.
Right.
And that's when I thought that like, wow, actually, I can see why maybe people who don't live here might not be able to understand why we are so cool and chill with this.
No, and it sounds ridiculous because we are all believers and subscribers of the narrative that everyone should wear masks.
Yeah.
And the notion of believing in whether it works not never crossed our heads.
That's true. But so I actually pulled the Overthink Telegram channel, and let me just pull up the poll results right now. But like basically what I asked was, do you think masks are an infringement to your freedoms? And actually, I was actually quite surprised at the results. Only 4% said yes, and I think that 4% probably accidentally pressed yes. I think it's only 1% lah.
Really? No, because I think that like the way you phrased the question would have gotten a different response if you said is mandating masks.
Yes.
Right.
An infringement to freedom.
Infringement of personal freedom.
Yeah, isn't that what I wrote?
Or is it?
Do you think that mandating mask wearing is an infringement?
Oh, then clearly I haven't read the poll.
But yes, and an overwhelming amount of people said no, 58%.
Right.
And then the last 34-ish was yes, but I don't mind because it's needed. Which is what I voted. So you haven't seen the poll.
I haven't seen the poll.
So what's your answer right now off the top of your head?
Yes.
But needed.
But needed.
Okay, so I think a lot.
But you see, I have to clarify that my answer to this is yes, right?
Yeah.
It's not a yes, I hate this.
Yeah.
It's a yes.
Is that if you think about it, technically yes.
No, it is what?
Yeah lah. But I mean, I was talking to Kaiser about this, and then I was saying that like, I know this is a very extreme like analogy and maybe not a very good analogy to draw. But let's say like the law says you cannot murder people, right? Technically, is it infringing your personal freedom and choice?
You see?
I guess. But should you be allowing murder? Probably not.
Correct. Because like once again, this comes back to a topic that this comes back to a notion that we actually discussed many times. Is that we exist in a society.
Yeah.
There are certain things, benefits you reap from the society And there are certain, for the lack of a better word, because the opposing side of benefits is consequences.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Civil liberties is not something that exists for you as an individual.
What do you mean by that?
I'll give you an example. Okay, you talk about the UN human rights,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's because you're human,
Yes.
then you have human rights.
Yes.
If you existed as an individual that is devoid of connection, as a being that is neither human, animal, or what, right?
Yeah.
You have no rights,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, you also have all the rights.
That is very weird way of putting it.
It's very weird, but if you think of yourself as an alien that comes to visit Earth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You have no rights,
You have no rights.
but you also have all the rights
Technically speaking.
because you are in the fucking Wild West,
That's true. That's true.
right?
Yeah.
So the thing about it is that once again, we come to the argument of civil liberties, which exists because it was given to you as a right,
Yes.
and the authority that a government has for a group of people.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel that it is an infringement of rights
Yes,
because
yeah.
if we all truly believe in our God-given rights or our human rights,
Yeah.
then we have the right to object.
We have the right to object,
Right.
and people shouldn't have the right to, like, I guess,
Mandate
mandate
things.
certain
Exactly.
things. Yeah.
But, right, because you exist in a society that requires you to have certain societal behaviors
Yeah.
and societal contracts with society,
Yeah.
there are some things you have to accept
Yeah.
as
Cannot.
beneficial to the society but may infringe on your civil liberties.
Sure. And in fact, like, what I'm more interested about, like,
Yeah.
in this topic is like how we view personal freedoms very differently from how America view personal freedoms. For example, like America's, like, Joe Biden's whole thing about getting people vaccinated, right? His whole argument is if you get vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. And it's a huge point of, like, I guess his huge selling point for people getting vaccinated. And in fact, a child actually is in the Twitch chat right now. Hi, child. But she actually said in New York they have stopped mandating mask wearing because they had 70% first dose vax rate. So, like, mask wearing was such a big deal in the US, but to us it's not a big deal. And I don't know whether should we be viewing personal freedoms as more important than we are right now, and why is it so that we don't view it as important as they do?
Now, you must understand, I think that the main fundamental difference is because they exist in different systems compared to us.
Okay.
For them, individual freedoms
Yeah.
and individual benefit is something that is very important.
Yes. Yeah.
So much so that the collective good is not often something that is readily taught to their society.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can explore why they think like that by looking at the flip side of things from a highly authoritarian, successful country, and that is China.
Yeah.
Right? I would say highly successful in terms of economy.
Economy. Yes.
Right? But what do we use to gauge a good society? Right? One that has a lot of civil liberties or one that has a lot of control? Very hard to say.
Yes.
Very hard to say.
Like, what defines success, right?
Because in times of pandemic, it seems like the one with more control is doing better.
Yes. Yes.
But in times of innovation,
The one
in
that
times of the one with more individualistic civil liberty seems to be doing better.
that's true.
So we cannot compare them side by side like that because it's not so clear cut.
Okay. Okay.
If we want to talk about how people behave in our nation, then unfortunately we have to follow what our nation says.
Yes.
Right? You can argue however you want about civil liberties, but unfortunately when it comes to nation, it comes to collective society, you can rebel against it, but you're not going to win.
Yes.
And if in life your objective is to win, then that's not a good course of action to take. But if your in life is to fight your case and always have your civil liberties, then yes, absolutely, that's the way to go. But you'll have a very rough road ahead of you.
Yeah, actually, for a school paper, I did a study for, like, basically talking about, like, basically there's individualistic cultures and the other one, I forgot what's it called. Collectivistic, yes, correct. So Singapore is more of a collectivistic culture as compared to the US. And they actually, I think I found this stat that's saying that, like, actually in a pandemic, not just like COVID, but in a pandemic, collectivistic cultures actually do better in terms of, like, death rates and, like, mortality rates and stuff like that as compared to individualistic cultures. So I think there is something to it. Like, collectivistic cultures like ours tend to place a lot more emphasis on, like, benefit for the whole society.
Yeah.
Place more emphasis on, like, whether not just on our benefit. We are basically a lot more willing to sacrifice our own personal benefits, like maybe like freedom of choice, personal freedom of choice for the greater good, we're able to see things more holistically. But
That's not necessarily true.
okay, what do you mean?
Especially that last sentence about seeing things more holistically.
Okay.
Because the thing about it is that like seeing things more holistically is relative.
Okay.
And depending on the society you exist in, right? The definition of seeing things more holistically is very different.
That's true. That's true. Maybe holistically is not the right word. Maybe we see things more of like in a societal benefit sense.
Correct.
Versus like an individual benefit sense.
Yeah, I would like to address a comment left by Krongs. They mentioned that.
What's up?
Krongs, thank you for joining us on Twitch.
Yes.
He or she, they mentioned individualism versus communitarianism. So I guess we got it wrong, but it's basically an individual versus a collective kind of thinking.
Yeah, I think collectivism is also another one. Maybe it's a different type of thing. But yes, I think it's very interesting nonetheless. And I was just wondering, like, should we be viewing personal freedoms as something that's more important? Because like if you ask Lee Hsien Loong this, you can somehow ask him over a dinner about like Western values versus Asian values. And we all know his stance on this. He doesn't like the Western values of certain issues. So I'm quite sure he'll say like, no, we should obviously care more about our society, etc., etc.
No, but like the thing is, okay, I think that sentence also is a little outdated in terms of comparison. There's no longer just Western values and Asian values.
Okay.
Right? It's not so simple anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Every nation has their take on it. I give you an example of an Asian country that is quite collective in what they do, but is doing terribly in the pandemic.
Oh.
Japan.
Japan is doing terribly in the
Japan
pandemic.
is doing terribly.
Why?
Okay? A lot of the cases are going up. A lot of people are dying because Japanese people are very good at doing the same thing all the time.
Oh, okay.
They're not good at sudden change.
Adapting, okay.
Yes. So they're having a really tough time, especially in some of the major cities.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So things like transiting from work from home, it's very difficult for Japan. So a lot of Japanese content creators are actually coming out to say that, they live in Japan now. Everything is great. People are behaving well. They're wearing the mask, everything. But they're doing a terrible job at controlling the pandemic.
So it's not even Asian collectivistic versus individualistic culture thing anymore.
It is not that. Yeah. It's what kind of society you exist in.
Okay.
And as a result of that society, you form your view of what is deserving of your behavior. So a lot of Singaporeans are understandably very triggered, right?
Yeah.
By people like the Brit that appeared in the MRT, saying that.
Yeah.
But also very difficultly to do would be to take a step back and understand why and which angle he's coming from. Because for the fact that he can come to Singapore to work means he's not an idiot.
Yes.
Right? He's not a psycho.
He's not
insane.
Yes.
Right? He must exist.
As much as you're trying to paint him.
He must exist in a society
that
actually values him.
And if you think about it, the UK now has been like going without masks for a while.
Exactly.
Like I think they just like reduced
Exactly.
like the mandate.
But that one is difficult to understand.
Yeah.
Because for all we know, and we think it's because we know the benefit, but our entire understanding is just based around the fact that we do these things, we follow the science. It's correct.
Yes.
And because we do these things, we follow the science. Science has no rooms for discussion.
Yeah.
Science does not care about your your civil liberties.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, civil liberties suddenly don't seem as important.
Actually, I'm quite curious as to know why, like, of all the things that are like because of COVID have restrictions, let's say like cannot go to clubs, bars, you cannot drink alcohol after 10:30, etc. Right? Of all the things, right? Why is mask the one thing that we are so hard up?
Well, because it's like there is a definite oppressive nature to a mandate.
Okay.
Very simple, right? I force you to always must carry around trace together token.
Yeah.
Remember when that happened?
That was bad.
Remember when that happened, right?
Yeah.
Everyone was worried that there'll be tracking. So much so that we had to go and do a video to talk about how it doesn't track you. It's not a GPS or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that scale escalated in the UK or the US?
That's true.
Right?
That's
and
true.
there is a reason why this is important, because clearly civil liberties are important to us.
Yeah.
But different societies value it to different level.
Okay. So why of all the things, right? Even in the UK or US, why of all the things they seem to be more hard up on the mask wearing?
Because it feels okay. I don't know a better reason than because
feels
it's
like
an
shit.
inconvenience.
Okay.
And people don't like inconveniences, especially individualistic people.
Okay, yes.
They don't like things that inconvenience them.
And
For the lack of a better term in Singapore, we like to call these people entitled, right?
Yeah.
But most of the time, they're just individualistic. They
Yes.
don't like things that inconvenience them.
Yes.
They don't like things that don't serve them only.
Yeah. Okay. Like to them is a drawback lah.
Yeah, I'm fine. Why I need to wear?
Yeah,
Usually that's
true.
the argument, right?
Yeah. But I think maybe it's also because it's like more, for lack of a better word, visceral, or like a lot more accessible, like physically. Because every day you have to wear a mask versus like other things like, let's say, clubs cannot open. It's not as noticeable a difference maybe as compared to masks. And maybe people, I know I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, masks are very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They don't like wearing masks.
No, it's fair.
Yeah.
Like, we may not find it uncomfortable, but I'm pretty sure there are people who find it uncomfortable. But this is where we have to balance both sides of the discussion, you see?
Yeah.
You talk about the science of it, right?
Yeah.
What do masks serve to do, all that kind of thing. And with enough reading up, you will achieve understanding. And I think that's the toughest part. Because when you achieve understanding, then you're able to weigh option A against option B. Weigh option A against option B around the axis of whatever you understood.
Yes.
So the mask is a good example. I wear the mask, it makes me uncomfortable, difficult to breathe. I get mask rash, it gives me acne. In general, it's an inconvenience.
Do you ever think that mask was a bad like inconvenience to you?
I've always been neutral about it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, but then on the other side of this argument,
Yeah.
right, is that mask prevents the disease, pandemic spread through the 3 Ds that we mentioned earlier, and the mask eliminates most of this.
Yes.
And as much as mask is used to protect you, it's also to protect community.
Yes, it's not just about us lah. It's about like, and that's what the Singapore government has been like pushing out. If you go realize like the advertisements are always about family.
Correct. So when you
ones.
weigh these two options, right?
Yeah.
Right. What will determine which side you choose will be your own internal biases and how you were brought up and what kind of society you exist in.
Yes.
Individualistic needs versus the community needs.
Yes.
So in our society in Singapore,
We
right,
care more about community.
we clearly have the community aspect coming out on top, but barely.
Barely? Would you say barely?
Barely. Because a
Oof.
lot of people are still very upset about wearing masks and people are very lackadaisical about it.
There are a lot of people. In fact,
I give you an example, okay?
Yeah.
Another country that we can use this exact same example is Taiwan.
Okay, yes.
So in Taiwan, right,
Yeah.
they're extremely serious about their mask wearing.
Are they?
Super.
Okay.
Before pandemic, already they are like
yeah.
Japan like that, sick already wear masks.
Yeah.
Because their understanding is skewed more towards the community understanding.
Yeah. I think Singapore is kind of like a weird in between. I think we are, of course, very Westernly
So,
influenced
but every
as well.
country is on different
Different
levels,
yeah. There's if there was like a index for it, I think Singapore would kind of be in
More,
between.
yeah.
And in fact, one of our viewers just now doing the pre-episode chats said that like his students, like a lot of them don't wear masks properly. They will like put it down a little bit.
No, and like in Singapore, how many people have we seen eating slowly just so that they can speak without masks? Or if finished already, the plate's still there, so they continue to talk without masks.
That's true. Yeah. I'm just okay. So if you had a choice to, I guess, custom make your society,
Yeah. Ooh, I love this question.
what is the level of individualistic versus collectivistic?
Okay. I have this theory that I always felt would have been the utopian society that I imagine it to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Would be a society governed by AI.
Okay. I think you have told
Yeah.
me about this before, but can you explain?
Okay. So you know in Captain Marvel, right? The Kree.
The Kree, yes.
The
yes,
Kree
yes,
are
yes.
governed by the Supreme Intelligence, which is an AI.
AI, yes.
Right, and of course in the stories the AI can corrupt or whatever. But this AI is not the fantastical with personality kind of AI that we understand. We're talking about a learning machine, basically.
Yes.
A machine that learns.
It's just
right? AI
numbers,
are so
yeah.
clever now that they can learn how to solve Rubik's Cube, solve problems. Basically, it's an algorithm that solves problems.
Yes.
Right? Alan Turing managed to do it in World War II. Okay, but
Yes.
this can exist. So this AI is very simple. We input a certain outcome that we want,
Yeah.
and the AI will tell you the least number of steps that is required to get there.
To get there. Okay.
But this is where the human element comes in. So the humans will vote on which step to take. So that for example, I say I want pandemic to end. The AI will generate, and okay, wear mask, don't wear mask.
Yes.
Humans will pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one already, you will generate again, find the next shortest path, this one or this one. So what happens is you have the very surgical
Yeah.
and emotion-free problem solving,
Yeah.
which always will ensure the most efficient result coming from the AI. But you have the moral and societal understanding input by the humans.
Interesting.
So, regardless of however your society is brought up, you will always still take the shortest possible path to solve a problem.
Wait,
think about it.
Shortest possible, but if let's say you choose the wear mask, no wear mask.
Yeah.
But yes, it's definitely the short. I'm assuming it's the shorter.
No.
Okay.
So the AI will be able to fix all these things. So wear mask, don't wear mask, you pick don't wear mask. Okay?
Yeah.
Everyone can only stay at home or people can go out.
Yeah.
So, as you eliminate the options in a very Socratic method where you ask question, eliminate, you will find an answer, eventually you reach there. Some nations will clearly take a long time, and there'll be some nations who will excel and basically choose the shortest possible path. But only the AI knows the real shortest path.
Yes. Okay. So weirdly enough, it isn't even a scale per se. You can't exactly put individualistic or
no, because you know that I know that all societies exist in a spectrum.
Yeah.
And people are cramming these spectrums, into nations.
Yes.
Right? So we need at least a nation-sized answer.
Okay.
Right? Of course, it's a spectrum within the whole nation.
Yeah.
No choice. Every individual is one person. So if you want, you must cram to get a nation-sized answer. And to get a nation-sized answer, you want the most efficient answer that can apply to everyone.
Yes.
And the best way to do that is to have an AI giving you the model answer first.
I mean, we are assuming things like the AI will give you the model answer.
I'm pretty sure an AI like that can exist.
It can exist, but
if collective human effort comes together to program a problem-solving AI, it has access to the resources, has access to the knowledge, and has access to what we can do. You just need to ask it a question and it will give you an answer. And these things already exist in principle. They exist in principle for the longest time.
Yes.
So you just need to give it the right resources. You ask it the question, it will give you the outcome immediately. But that is the most unfeeling, psychopathic, emotionless, efficient outcome. And we can't have that in human society.
We cannot. Yeah.
And that's where the human input has to come in. At each level, when an answer is generated, the human choose A or B.
John for president, 2057.
Honestly, don't get me. Get
Get the AI guys.
Yeah, get the AI, get the programmers.
Yeah, but I think another follow-up question for that. I personally, another follow-up question is that because this Brit guy, he came from a, I guess, more individualistic society and he came to Singapore to work. I mean, to me, the answer is very clear for this, but he needs to fit into our society. He's here as someone who is...
Yeah, the old adage, right? When in Rome, do what Romans do, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But can you see how is there any way that we can see how he might think that why do I need to conform to them?
I can definitely see. And I think it stems from, it's a stretch. It took me a long time, like we mentioned earlier in the episode, it takes a long time to try to understand that point of view because every fiber of your being screams that he's wrong, right?
I mean, if you think about it.
If you really think about it, then you get to that conclusion. But at the same time, I also can see how it stems from ignorance.
In what way?
Not ignorance to how the pandemic works. We've existed in this for almost 2 years. Clearly, he's not an idiot. He gets to work overseas, right? But ignorance to how our society works. And ignorance to how that kind of behavior is not acceptable in our society. That is the key difference here. What is the law punishing him for? And this is why they're also rebelling against it. The law is punishing him for not following instruction.
Yes. I mean, that's what the law does.
And as a result of that, he infringed on his civil liberties.
Yes.
And this is what the long comment, right? They're actually fighting against. The fact that they're forcing him to do something and mandating it by law. When it comes from a very individualistic standpoint, that law is an oppressive law.
So do you think that he should just suck it up and just conform and
Unfortunately, I feel in Singapore, that is what you have to do.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of like akin it to, maybe let's say the Bali one. Let's say in Bali, there's kind of like a law that you can't stay in the same room.
And I know Indonesia is very famous for this.
Yeah.
You can't streak.
Yes.
Okay, you can't do streaking because a lot of foreign travelers like to go up to their mountains and at the summit, take off all their clothes and take a picture of them streaking.
Yeah.
Right? Which is fine. Right? Celebrate it on social media. You get your likes.
Yeah.
But
in a society,
you misunderstand that in a conservative Muslim society like that, because you're in their land, you unfortunately have to conform to their rules as much as you don't like them.
That's true. There are a lot of things like, let's say, like even the Bali, like I don't know whether it's true, don't quote me on this, but like I've heard that you cannot stay in the same room with an opposite gender unless you are married.
That is if the religious police come and find you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not too sure
Not
what
too sure
the
about
full
that.
rules are. But you see, these rules are put in place and the society did not crash and burn because those societal members, right, members of that society, subscribe to it and behave according to it. You can't go into a country with new ideas without convincing the society to follow them.
That's true.
Because unfortunately, when you are a new member in the society, whether by visit or on work or for long term, the majority very rarely or almost never bends to the will of one.
Which creates problems sometimes.
It creates a huge problem sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a bit tough. I can kind of see where it's coming from, especially if, let's say, you came from like UK where the mask mandate thing is like kind of a bit laxer now. And he's seeing his friends partying, he's seeing his friends going out bars, living their best life,
and also
mask
because
off, everything.
one other thing that could be a factor is that maybe that's all he's ever known.
That's all he's ever known. Then he comes in here, it's like, what the heck?
Why this country like
Why
this?
this country like that?
Why are they so backward?
Exactly. Then
You know?
Yeah. Okay, I can kind of, honestly speaking, when I first read the news, I brushed it off very, very fast. I'm just like, this is another guy, like the sovereign lady, that just refuses to goddamn wear their mask.
Correct. But if we really take a step back and actually think deeper about it, right?
Yeah.
There is a very sociological case study here that we can actually study.
So how do you think we should deal with people like that?
I think, right? In an ideal world, right? We make sure these people achieve understanding. So right now, the reason why understanding is not achievable is because of ignorance and resistance to understanding. Right? These are caused by how you were brought up. This is caused by people not being don't like being fed information, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that is the flaws of an individualistic society, and also the flaw of a society that doesn't really care about understanding.
Yes.
Because after all, I feel that if societies function on understanding, societies will never flourish. Humans are the species that is the most resistant to understanding and change.
And we misunderstand each other.
Exactly.
Like constantly.
To the point whereby we almost say that we refuse to understand. If you don't achieve understanding, you will always be stuck ignorant. Yes. And when you're ignorant, you either follow instruction or you do things your way.
That's true.
Right? Yeah. And that's where it becomes an infringement of whether it's civil liberties or infringement of law.
I mean, in the ideal case...
So in the ideal case, like I mentioned, right, would be him achieving understanding. Extreme, but for the lack of a better term, what if there were COVID re-education programs?
Like before they come in, then they have to take like a 2-hour course.
Why not?
It sounds weird as heck.
It's weird as heck, but we've never existed in a world prior to 2019 that exists like this.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, in the ideal world for me, it will also be that he understands. We can talk to him properly and he understands, but it seems like he doesn't really get it. And to be honest, to be fair, most Singaporeans don't really get him either. So it's not like there's much of an understanding on both sides.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think the only solution, like practically, I can think of, right, is that if you don't like the laws here, for example, not even the mask wearing, like you don't like that you can't bring a durian on MRT, or you don't like that you can't do certain, like you can't drink after 10:30. If you really cannot live without it, right, then I guess Singapore's not the right place for you to live in.
Not in a get out of my country way, but in a I'm sorry, let's break up kind of way.
Yes, the sorry, let's break up kind of way. It's like we can't
give you what you want.
And like, that's really sad.
And I think that is something that people need to understand. When a society can't give you what you want, right?
Yeah.
What can you do?
Can't do anything.
You really can't do much.
Really.
If you have the option to leave, you leave.
Wrong match.
Right?
Yeah.
If you have the option to leave, you leave. If you can't leave, then there's no real answer, right?
It's like when I go to US, I hate it when people will randomly talk to me in the lift. But I can't be like, I hate that people talk to me in the lift. God damn, stop talking to me.
Like, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I had to like get used to it, which I eventually did after a period of time. But it's not something, I think if it's something that bothers me so much, then it's just not a good match, lor. And I think maybe people should stop using the harsh language like the get out of this country and like, oh my God, this stupid Brits, whatever, and all these harsh words.
That's where I feel that we have to draw the line also.
Yeah.
Intolerance, right, has no place in society. no
Yes.
matter how much of a moral high ground you think you exist in.
Yes.
That is the biggest problem with, I feel, a society like Singapore also.
Mm.
We are intolerant to the ignorant. We are intolerant to the different.
To the people, the people that we need to bring closer and try to get them to understand more, we are weirdly even less tolerant of them.
We are the yes.
We are the least tolerant.
We are, for the lack of a better term, we are extremely evil to these people.
That's true. That's true though.
As a society.
And this has shown like the sovereign lady,
Yeah.
from the sovereign lady, the Brit guy to like even the batch lady.
We are always quick to vilify,
Yes.
right? So much so that, once again, I give you an example. Okay?
Yeah.
For the Brit guy, everyone is like, he's like the public enemy number one, right?
Yeah.
What's his name?
No clue, dude. What's his name? Do you know?
Exactly.
I have no idea.
People don't even know his name.
That's a good idea.
It's so dehumanizing. Once again, this is what we do. We vilify people, we dehumanize them, and then we just say that they cast them social pariah.
That's true. Even there's this one case of like a few like expats that were on the yacht. I think they gathered in like
Yacht.
Yeah, whatever. They gathered in a group of 10 and then
Yeah.
people were like scolding them online as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we are very intolerant to people who are, I guess, going against the grain in society.
Exactly.
And that kind of sucks. I wish that we were a little bit more
It's very
understanding.
unfortunate, but because you see, it's a good thought that what you just brought up, because that is how our individualism leaks out, in very intolerant, evil ways.
Yeah.
Because when in a society like ours, when our individualism is not given enough say,
Yeah.
they come out in voids and leaks where the power leaks out, where we have the opportunity to flex our power.
Yes. Yeah.
When people are not given a platform for themselves, right? Their personal biases and their power dynamic leaks out in that kind of nasty way.
Okay.
We see this all the time, right? We talk about parenting all the time.
Yes.
We talk about people who repress their emotions all the time.
Yes.
Isn't this an example of how a society which represses a lot of these individualistic understandings cannot even see that this person might not be a bad person, he's just individualistic?
That's true. I think immediately you'll
Me.
think that this person is like, I guess, stupid for lack of a better word. Don't just wants to
Crazy.
harm us,
Ah.
crazy.
Don't know how to listen. Come to Singapore, want to hao lian.
Yeah.
But the fact is that last sentence, come to Singapore, don't want to listen our rule. Singapore very good.
I guess we need to try to think from their part. Not saying that they're right.
Yeah.
I still think we should wear our mask.
Of course.
And that's something that I still stand that like will be for a very long time how we deal with this pandemic, even after the whole vaccination thing.
Absolutely.
So not that we should change the law because of them, but maybe be a bit more gracious.
Help them come to the understanding that you've arrived at.
Yeah.
If what the
That's the
government has
goal.
been saying is not enough to convince some of these people,
Mm.
clearly it's not enough, because if you can listen but they don't, that means whatever has been said is not enough. Ironically, the option is to say more,
That's true.
and instead of calling them names, slinging mud at them, ironically, it's to bring them closer to the cause. We actually talked about this all the
we talk
damn
about
time.
this all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree.
It's very difficult to manage your emotions and bring people closer to your understanding. Because if they can have understanding of their side, you can have understanding of their side, then aren't we all more better for it?
That's true lah. I mean that's, I guess, it's a very nice way to end this episode. It's just, I think it's just a misalignment of what our priorities are, like between their priorities and our priorities. And it's a bit unfortunate that most of the time these priorities are not in conflict with the law. Unfortunately, this is one of those cases where it is in conflict with the law.
Yeah.
And it's because of that it has gotten a lot of publicity and people are
Exactly.
very angry. So I guess hope in the ideal world, we have already said it, that people will be more understanding. But
Exactly.
I guess we have to work towards that.
No, and I feel that like as a society, we cannot really once again jump on people the moment they do something that is deviant,
Yes.
right? Whether it's against the law or not. I bet you, and I'm quite confident that I'll win this bet,
Yes.
that the angry people that are whacking this guy on social media, right? Actually, they don't care that he's breaking the law.
They care more that he's overseas guy.
Yeah, that he's just trying to be different in our society.
Maybe.
It's true that while people are in our society, they should follow our law, right?
Yeah.
Correct. But I bet you these angry people are not angry because they don't follow the law. And sometimes people are angry and they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
You know, they don't even realize it.
Yes, I agree.
That they're angry not because they're not following the law. They're just angry because they want to be angry at someone. Because they feel that they have the moral high ground now.
That's true.
And that's where it gets unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of a sad note to end it on, but I think it's a good note either way. With that, I think we have said enough. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of In My Opinion.
Yeah.
Stay safe and see you guys next week.
Yeah, man. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Telegram. Follow us on everywhere. And
Twitch.
Don't get ulcer and stay vaccinated, wear masks, and stay safe, my people. Stay safe.
Get vaccinated, stay safe. Follow us on Twitch. Goodbye. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.